Okay, so thank you for joining me today. So today I have Annika Suoma Frey who's joining me. She is one of my fellow entrepreneurs, and we actually did a program together. She's really lovely. So Annika shares her life with her husband and her two small boys, filling their days with love and laughter, long walks in nature, good wholesome food, and making time instead of chasing it. I love that. She works as the light maiden, and being a transformational soul coach enables her to live her life from one soul led adventure to the next, inspiring and supporting others worldwide to do the same. So, welcome, Anika.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and thanks for saying yes to my offer to joining me today. So, one of the things that I wanted to ask Anika, but wanted to talk about it. The last time there was a time we were talking, and I was, as I was explaining to her about, doing things that light me up and doing things that I enjoy, she mentioned to me that I'm a process person, which according, and I'm going to have her tell us more about it, but I was so excited that I told her, when you come on, I want us to talk about that because I think it will benefit so many of us. I had never heard it like that. So basically what she was telling me is that I'm the type of person, I have to enjoy the process in order for things to flow and in order for me to feel good. You know how some people tell you you need to do it anyway? That's so not me. So can you let us know more about that?
Definitely. So every single person has their unique ability to manifest. So there are there's 7 spectrums, energetic spectrums, in this ability to manifest. And one of them is the process versus the outcome spectrum. So at the
Mm.
very one end of the spectrum is at the process person, and at the very other end, and like this is 0 and this is 100, and at 100 there is the outcome person. And so every single one of us has their unique number on that spectrum. And when you go away from that number, then you end up not manifesting anything because you're not
Mm.
aligned with the energy that you need to manifest what you want to manifest into your life, what you want to create as your new reality. And so when we talked, it got really, really clear for me that on that spectrum, you're very far over here. And so the process person needs to enjoy every single step on the process, like while they're doing things. And they up level while they're doing things. So with every teeny tiny step, they're walking towards their goal, done in joy, done in happiness, done with gratitude and love. And for me, a big energy that I need to set behind it too is adventure, is excitement. And so with every single step, you up level further and further and further and further. And so when you reach your goal, then there's no big up level there. That's
Mm-hmm.
where the outcome people come into play. Like when you're over here, more over here in the spectrum,
Mm-hmm.
you do all those steps, and it doesn't matter how you feel in those steps. You just do
Mm-hmm.
them. You make yourself do them. You sit through them. And then when you reach your goal, you're like, woohoo, party, let's do this, whatever. And so for persons that can be very challenging because they kind of fall flat when they reach their goal. Like it's almost like they have joy and they enjoy it over the process, over all these steps, and then they kind of feel flat when they reach it, and they see others, those outcome people, they're like, woohoo, let's celebrate, let's have a party, whatever, we go this and that. And so when that might be like most of the manifesting literature out there, and most of the teachers who teach about manifesting are more on this spectrum. So
Wow, that's
they
very
talk,
interesting.
yeah, there is like, and for a long time I thought like I'm doing something wrong. Like I can't manifest the things, but I'm following those rules that the process people have, the outcome people have over here. But I'm like you, very much on this end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
And I have talked with my husband about it, and he's in the middle of the spectrum, towards a little bit towards the outcome.
The outcome.
So when you say 0 and 100, he's at like 55, 58, something like that. So when he's trying to do something and it doesn't work out with the process way, he can make himself sit through things and still come to the outcome and feel like, yes, I want to, like both ways work for him. But for me, it doesn't. I'm like, when I have learned for myself that when I try to manifest something, I need to drop it as soon as it gets like pressuring, as soon as it gets like, I should do this, I need to do this, whatever. And for me, another spectrum there is consistency versus variable. And so for me, it's always like, I just turn my attention to something new because I'm a variable person. I don't need to do the same shit every single day. Oh, am I allowed to say shit? Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's totally fine with me.
But I'm a person that needs new ways to do things and needs many ways to do things. I need variation in my life so much. So there is when the excitement comes into play, so that feeling behind it. And so when something doesn't feel exciting anymore, when something doesn't bring me joy, when I'm not fulfilled with happiness, when I do it, I drop it. Yeah. But that was a process to learn that, definitely. But that's what we talked about. You were like, oh my God, now I know why I'm not manifesting.
I know. And you know what? And, it's one of the things, actually, when I don't know, for some reason, when we talked about it, I don't recall we talked about that manifesting piece, because it's very true what you're saying. And I remember once I got on a call with a fellow coach, and you know what she said to me? She was telling me, because I was saying how sometimes, I have to, I'm all about being honest. I struggle with structure. I'm not a big, I struggle with that. Yeah. I'm very much like very easy flow or whatever. And she said to me, okay, why did you start this? And she was telling me to write down, because, I have a big vision for my life and my business. She said, write it down, and you have to look at it on a regular basis. And then as you were talking, I was like, well, yeah, but that's the thing. That's the outcome. That's an outcome, and I'm not an outcome person. So that's not going to do it for me. What's doing it for me is to make sure that I do activities. I'm constantly doing activities. They're going to lead me to my outcome, but that I actually enjoy. And the ones that I don't enjoy, just drop them.
Yeah. It is like, for the outcome people, it's very much like they set for themselves the goal of like going, I don't know, let's take a holiday, for example. So they said, like, in June I want to go to the Caribbean, and then they have to look at they have to look at the spot they want to go. They have to figure out how much money they need for them and their family and whatever, and then they need to trace that back to how many people do I need to and get as clients or whatever in the entrepreneurial world, or how much do I have to put back to the side from my pay. So they need to trace back those steps, and then they can do those steps, no problem. They just do it because they know what their outcome is, and when they're then in the Caribbean at their like dream location, they're like, woohoo, Yeah. For us process people, it's a very different way. It's like, I set an intention. I say, like, I want to spend the whole month of from mid-April to mid-May in some place in a beautiful Southeast Asia with my family.
Yes.
And then I go off and do things all with the intention of like, this is leading me to this. Like, I look at the energy that is behind that vacation or behind that trip. For us, it's actually moving into full-time travel, so it will be our life soon. So this is a real life example I'm giving you here right now.
I saw your interview with Maru. I
Oh,
saw
you
your
watched it.
yes, and then yes, and
Beautiful.
I also saw, and I don't know if it was in that one. I think it was in that one where you mentioned about the traveling thing, and I was like, oh my
Yes.
God, that's so exciting.
It is. I did a webinar today about the conversation my husband and me had to make that decision to move into full-time travel. But for me as a process person, it's really just like I set that intention and then I let it go. But I look at the energy behind that intention. And for me, it's all about adventure and excitement and having fun and joy. And so I take those energies and all of my actions towards this goal or in my life in general, in all areas of my life,
Mm-hmm.
need to be done with that energy in mind.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
if it's not there, I need to drop it. I need to
drop it
leave it.
definitely. So
Yeah.
yeah, and isn't that liberating? I'm sure. I'm curious how your clients, when they hear that, they probably feel like it feels liberating or like wow, okay, so like kind of like what you were saying, so nothing's wrong with me, because sometimes we wonder, okay, is something wrong with me, why is it not working for me, and it seems to work for other people,
I
definitely.
had a client 2 days ago. Yeah, 2 days ago on a call from a group program. And I went into a little bit of laser coaching with her and I got an intuitive hit. So I'm constantly in touch with my guides and spirit and normally their guides as well when I work with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I, I told her something that was completely new to her. And it almost was like her reality crumbled down around her. And you could see it on her face, how everything in her mind shifted. And she was even like, oh my God, I can feel my cells shifting in my body from that truth because I know it's true. I couldn't see it beforehand, but I know now that it's true. And this is something like this information I just gave you. And like when we see ourselves from a soul perspective, and from like some people call it the book of life, the Akashic records, spirit, whatever you want to call it, but from that soul perspective where you have a higher understanding of why you're here on earth and what you have to do, then it can come to this big shifts in perception and deep understanding of why things haven't worked before for you.
Yes,
So yeah.
definitely. Yeah, no, definitely. And I have to share with everyone that I don't know if I reached out to you after you read that thing for me, that awful part, but I've been wanting to do this for a while. And Annika was one of the first people we talked about it because she has a similar show called is it My Happy Place, right?
Meet me at
Meet
my happy place.
Meet
Yeah.
me at My Happy Place. And when we talked about it, I said, yes, I'm going to do it. And then there was just so many things coming up. I wanted to start in the beginning of the year. It wasn't happening. And that day that you did the reading before, there was something, I was having an issue with my laptop. And I kept saying, okay, well, there's so much going on. I can't do it. And then I figure out that it could work. And I was like, oh my God, I need to do this. And I was on Facebook and I saw that she had this thing where she was like, share, I'll give you a reading. And I was like, okay, and I have to say, I'm not big on what we call cards or anything, but I was like, hey, I'll share. And I jumped on her call, on her live, on her Facebook live. And when the card she pulled for me from Archangel Gabriel, where she was like, you have an important life purpose. It's in the form of communication and art, in the communication part.
Communication and arts.
I have to say the arts part kind of threw me off for a moment because I was like, really? But when you said, and you were like, I think I know what this is coming from. So that was confirmation for me that, okay, get moving on this. And let me tell you, right after that, that's when I started moving on it, like seriously. Getting people on the phone. Like actually, I had already had a few people, but they were waiting on me to find out when we want to record. So I just wanted to put that out there that she is very much a big part of me starting this, which is I'm really enjoying it.
I love this. I love this. And I thank you so much for sharing this. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, we talked about this in November when I was in Germany. with
Yes.
my parents, right?
Yes.
And then it took a while, but I remember that day when I did that live stream with the, like, I do live streams sometimes where I pull cards for people if they share the live stream. And I find them, like, since I have been trusting that the people in front of me get exactly the message out of it that they need, it has been like so incredible. Like every time I just even when I pull something and I don't even know what to do with it, like the words just stream out of me, the messages that need to be delivered. And with you, like with the communication and the arts, it is an art form. It is definitely something that requires creativity. I mean, like, you're here and you're asking me questions and you're putting this all together. And so definitely it is an art form for me.
No, definitely. And I have to tell you, I was sharing with someone the other day that, of course, the gremlin, my, that voice in our head, my ego started telling me as I was getting ready to like do it, to record my first one, you didn't study communication. Like, how are you, like, who do you think you are? You're going to be doing this, you know? And I have to tell you, when you gave me that card too, I was like, wow, who knows? Maybe I'll have a show on TV one day. Like I was thinking, really, and it made me feel good talking about process, but of course, that voice in my head was also telling me all these things. So tell us a little, how did you get into that line of work? Like, tell us, is there a story? What's the story behind it?
Oh, there's a long story behind it. Before I want to get into it, though, I would like to the ego, when you were talking about the negative self-talk,
Yeah.
I have I developed a quite a handy little concept around this, and I call it the four maidens.
Mm-hmm.
And so the ego part, the negative self-talk, is the protective maiden. And
Mm-hmm.
I find that term is completely not negatively talking about that part of you, because it is a part of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But and it describes perfectly what it is trying to do. It's trying to keep you safe. It's trying to keep you in your comfort zone.
Oh.
But for our soul to have the experience here on earth that we want to have, that like we are craving to have, we can't stay in the comfort zone. It's not possible. We need to expand beyond that comfort zone.
Yeah.
So yeah, but when we talk about, like, for me, it all started with the question, who am I? And to define that more, I developed that concept of the four maidens, which is the perceived maiden is the first one. Mm-hmm. And that's the most outer one. That's how you are perceived by others. Mm-hmm. And then there is the outer maiden. This is how you want to appear to others, how you put yourself out there in actions, in your clothes, in your appearance, mm-hmm. in everything that is seen by others. Yeah. And then there's the maiden. And then there is the inner maiden. And the inner maiden is your core, your soul, who knows what she needs to do and what she dreams of and what she wants to do. And the disconnect most of the time between the four selves is the protective maiden, mm-hmm. standing in between the inner and the outer maiden, and keeping the outer maiden from doing what the inner maiden tells her to do. Wow. And so it's always the best thing to do is taking your protective maiden by the hand and saying, thank you so much for being here and trying to keep me safe, but I've got this. Mm-hmm. Yes. We can do this together. Can we find a step that might be a little bit smaller and more comfortable for you, but is still a step into the direction that I want to go?
Yes, and I love that. Instead of fighting it, right? Because some people may be thinking, let me just tell it, shut up, let's like fight. And really, all it does, it creates more unease and anxiety, right?
Like we said, like for us process person in particular, it's so important to have joy and have love and have excitement and all of that kind of stuff. So when I tell a part of myself to shut up, or I slay the ego, or the ego is the enemy, and all these kind of phrases, it really turns me off. I'm like, no, this is a part of myself that I accept and love as much as any other part of me. So I need to work with it and not against it, mm-hmm. and not trying to push it down and not trying to sit it into the corner and shut up. And say, no, I need to take it by the hand and say, you're safe, we're safe together, let's go ahead anyway.
I love that. I really, really love that. Yeah, so tell us about, how did you get into that line of work, or, what's that story behind it? I know you said it's a long one, but we'll see.
I try to keep it short. So it all started for me finding myself in a situation where I didn't know who I was. I just had my second baby. I was very lost in motherhood and supporting and caring for others, and didn't really know who I was or what I wanted. And that's when I first watched a TED Talk who inspired me to create that, like for maidens concept. And it got me thinking, who am I? Who am I really? What do I enjoy? What do I want to do with my life? What do I really want to do? And at the time I had a little market stall where I was selling chocolates and cake pops that I made here in the kitchen. And we just scraped by somehow. So there was not much money left at the end when we paid our bills. And it was a very free life, because we could freely use our time in the day with spending it with our kids, or then saying I need to work a little bit, I need some break or whatever. And then we only had 2 days where we would go onto the market, where we needed to be on a schedule, and all the other days we were free in our schedule, but we were still stuck to one location. And my big dream is to travel, to see the world, to show my children the world and the different cultures and the food and the people and what connects us, and how beautiful our diversity is, and how we can celebrate that. And very quickly it got clear to me that wasn't possible with a market stall. And the kind of limit we set ourselves, with the earning limit, with the limitation of being location bound. Exactly. And so and of course I started taking better care of myself again. So I started adjusting my diet. I started meditating regularly. I did beforehand, but not on a regular basis. And I introduced that, and that quickly got me very clear on what I had as vision in my head. And from there on, I needed to make changes. It was clear to me that I needed to make changes. And the first change that I made was that I went off processed sugar, which completely cleared out my channel. The connection between the sugar and my depression and my foggy head and all the mood swings and the cravings and all of that kind of stuff almost disappeared when I stopped eating processed sugar, when I cut that out of my diet. And then my channel opened, and I had my first divine download, I call them. And many others do as well in our little circles that we have. But I had this divine download coming in one day in January last year, so over a year ago, where I was told that I need to start an online business to get location independent.
Wow. And that was very clear. So that download, yeah.
That was incredible. It was it came in, and I sat there, and was not even 5 minutes. I was sitting there on the couch with the kids climbing over me and my husband next to me, and kind of oh my God, what just happened, And so I started finding out what do I need to do. And then in February I started a blog called Meet Me at My Happy Place, where I shared my birth stories, because that was what was very present for me, and where I thought this is something I can teach others, because I excelled at having the birth I wanted. With my second son, I had him here in the living room in the water.
Oh wow! Yeah.
It was magical. It was like my first access to magic in a long time, to that beautiful connection between Mother Earth and Spirit, and being in that connection, being plugged in.
Yeah.
And so I thought, okay, how can I teach this to others? And so I started out in the online world as a birth guide, preparing mothers for their natural birth with meditation, with visualizations, with hypnotherapy as well, with movement, and really getting them ready for their perfect birth. And I started sharing more and more birth stories every single week. I would share a birth story and a toolbox Thursday I had, where I would talk about tools that you can use to prepare for childbirth.
Yeah.
And then I came to infant receivers, where we met, where our path crossed, and where Maru showed me that there is even an easier way to do this. And then women came my way that said, like, I'm not pregnant, but I want to work with you. And so slowly but surely it went into a very different direction. So it went from Happy Place Birthing, that was my first business, into Happy Place Living, where I work with women in any age, at any stage of their life, looking into what would bring them more happiness and what they need to change in their life. And I called myself an intuitive happiness coach at that stage. And that's how it all began. And then it quickly evolved into this. I used more of me, like my cards and my channel and my ability to see the aura and the spirit guides around you and all this kind of stuff, and look into your Akashic records and tell you what you need to course correct your path. And I more and more of me went into this work. And at some point I was at a point where I said, like, the name feels too small. The name doesn't describe anymore what I do. It's like almost making myself,
you were shrinking.
Small, shrinking. Yeah, exactly. Not telling the world what I really can do. And then people came to me that weren't ready for that kind of work too. And they were blown away by the power, like how powerful it was and how much it changed for them. Like the breakthroughs I described earlier, where they just start sobbing and like can't control themselves anymore because their reality is changing while they speak with me. And on the other hand, I called people in who weren't open to open themselves up to that kind of work, because I wasn't open upfront what I would do with them.
Yes.
And so I said, I need a new name. And that was September last year when I changed with another ER sister, Infinite Receiving Sister, Sarah Babkov, who offered me kindly 2 hours with herself. And she's an incredible word wizard. She's like, she has that feeling for words. She can bring the right words, for your copy, for your business, for whatever you need it. It was incredible. We had that 2.5 hour session. And at some point she said, like, we were like, the light. Oh, the light maiden. And I had goosebumps all over. And I'm like, yes, this is the name.
Definitely. That's awesome.
And since then, it has been really a beautiful journey and organically growing and evolving. And I really enjoyed the ride. It has been the ride. And last month, I was in Canada for a week, where I visited a friend in her beautiful transformational event that she put on, her first live event, Katie Lipman.
Oh, wow.
And while I was there, I was working. I did one-to-one, face-to-face sessions. I did a half VIP day. I did a workshop there, and it was really, all my dreams came true because I was traveling and I was able to work at the same time. So I wasn't,
that's great, huh?
Location bound anymore. And that was like, oh my God. So now we can all go. We're not bound to this location any longer. We can go wherever we want to. And I know for over a year now in my heart that for my 30th birthday, because I have seen it in a visualization I did beforehand, for my 30th birthday, I need to be somewhere tropical on the beach. And in my head, it was the Philippines, but it quickly changed into Bali. And I didn't even know anything about Bali at that stage. I just knew I need to be in Bali on my 30th birthday, which is coming up now at the end of April.
Oh,
And
wow.
everything,
You're gonna be there, right?
yeah, everything is coming together. And I'm like, oh, wow.
Wow, that's powerful. That's awesome. And I have to say, as I'm looking at you, you're glowing, and I think you exemplify what you do for your clients. Like it's there, the joy, the happiness, like I see it in your face.
Thank
Whenever I see your lives or I see pictures of you, like you embody what you are, what you do for people, because like you said, you have it within you. So that's awesome.
I
Okay.
do this work over and over again, I'm not stopping. Like there's healing taking place and I
Of
release
course.
things and I share it with people then. And it's so important that you walk your talk. You can't teach something that you are
Yes.
not doing yourself.
Yes. No, definitely. And I have to say sometimes, because sometimes I've even thought about, okay, am I sharing too much about me? Because I share things at times when they're actually happening to me, you know? So, but I also think that's what makes us, authentic. That's what makes people relate to us too. Because if we were portraying this whole perfect, because I mean, we're all a work in progress, you know? So
Exactly. We're all
definitely.
on different points in our journey, definitely. For
Yeah.
me, I always have to feel if I'm ready to share it. Like I can share that I'm healing right now, but I might not share what I'm healing through right now.
Yes,
So
definitely.
I would say I'm in a weird space. I'm healing through some pretty deep stuff around my mother or something like that, but I wouldn't share exactly
Yes,
what is
what's
up
going
until I'm ready. So this is
Definitely.
my distinction for it. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. No, I completely agree with that, because I also, one of the things I have to say, as I was starting in this journey of being a coach and an entrepreneur, that's when I discovered Brene Brown. I don't know if you've read any of her stuff. And I
I
remember
love her stuff.
that
It's just incredible.
I know
Yeah.
I love her stuff. And I remember I that's when I discovered her. I was like, wow. And my sister had been telling me about this book that she was reading, but she never mentioned the author, which was The Gifts of Imperfection. So when she mentioned it to me, when I was like, oh my God, this woman, I saw her on Super Soul Sunday, and she was like, I said, yeah, I'm gonna read her book, Daring Greatly. She's like, that's, The Gifts of Imperfection, that's her book that I've been telling you that I'm reading and I can't put down. So one day I was listening to, she was on Oprah had these things called Life Class at some point, and Brene Brown was there, and she's all about vulnerability. But she also says that she has this thing that she says she doesn't share anything that she hasn't healed from, in the sense that, if it's kind of like what you were saying, you may be saying you're going through stuff, but you're not saying exactly if you haven't healed from it, because like what she was saying, sometimes we're still, when we haven't fully healed from it, in a way, people's reaction are going to impact us.
Yeah.
So I remember hearing that early on from her. So I've always known, like even now, like if I'm sharing something that I haven't, that I'm still going through, it's not something that's pretty deep, because if it's really, really deep, then I might, like you said, I might talk about it a little bit, but I won't go into what it is, because I know I'm not ready. Because then you allow, it's sort of like she says, to share your story with those who have earned the right to hear your story. Because in some way, when we're not fully healed from it and we go and share it, because I know that happened to me before a few times in life, where I shared myself with somebody who also had they were not vulnerable, they were not open to it, and their reaction did not make me feel good.
Yeah.
Because when we're not healed, in some way, we're looking for compassion and empathy.
That's true. Well, when we're fully healed, it doesn't matter how the other person reacts. It
No.
doesn't really matter. It's just like, I hope this is helpful for you, because this is what I found in my healing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
definitely.
found the greatest thing for me at the moment, bringing stuff up for me to heal, is writing my book. I have recently started writing my book, and it's just incredible what comes up through that process, and writing it down and letting my heart speak and pour out on the page. And that is incredible. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
journal, big time journaling.
Yeah, no, I get that. And actually, I remember sometimes I've even said to myself, I'm like, you know what, there are certain things that I think they'll be in my book, my first book or whatever, because, yeah, so, because it's definitely another way of healing too. It's like you said, it's like journaling, you know? So, so I'm going to ask you a few questions as we wrap this up. So I'm curious, would you say, what are your thoughts on life purpose? And do you have one? I don't know. It seems like it, but I'm just curious what your thoughts are.
I think that every single soul comes onto this earth plane with a definite thing that they want to experience.
Mm-hmm.
And that there are many experiences that, like, or many situations that would bring that experience to that soul. So a soul never thinks about, labels things as good as bad. It just labels things as experiencing one particular or two particular things that it wanted to really explore in this body on this earth. And so I deeply believe that every single one of us has a soul purpose,
Mm-hmm.
but it can be lived out in very different and various ways.
Yes.
There is not like you're not here and then you have one experience and then you're done for the life. It's like you flow through life and have that experience over and over, and like almost uncover layers of it more and more. Like, one of my soul's deepest longings is to experience kindness fully and deeply, showing kindness to others, but also having kindness shown to me, and receiving kindness from others. And since I know that, since I work with my own Akashic record coach, because looking into others, looking into them for others is almost always easier than looking into them for yourself. So I have my own coach for this stuff.
Yes.
And since I know this, and since I have embodied this and know that, like, the kindness is one of the main experiences my soul wants to make, I can flow so much easier through life.
Yeah, no, definitely. So I'm curious, what would you say that you stand for in life? And maybe it could be more than one thing.
What do I stand for in life? I have to think about my tattoo I have on my back. It's my partner and me. We got the same tattoo on our back. It's our engagement tattoo, and it has the Bohemian what are they called, statements on it. It's freedom, beauty, truth, and love.
I love
And
it.
also come what may. So I stand for those things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love it.
I
I
stand
love
for those.
it. Yeah. And I mean, I would say as a coach, I'm sure, I mean, I'm just curious on your thoughts on empowerment, because it seems in some way I would say that's what you're doing. You're empowering your clients and people in your life, because, when we, I don't know, as you say, the way you live your life is probably, you don't just show up that way at work. You show up in every area of your life like that. So I'm curious, what are your thoughts on empowerment, especially empowering women? Because as you know, I really created this space so I can empower women and really give women who are empowering other women, or people in general, a voice and a platform for people to hear them.
Empowerment is, for me, empowering yourself first. Like, when you live from an empowered place where you make all the choices that you have in life, and create your life on your own terms, then through that action you empower others to do the same.
Yeah, Definitely.
And so those are empowerment. Like empowerment means that you're making your own choices. It doesn't mean you're doing something because whoever said so that it needs to be done this way, but
Yeah.
you use your own mind, your own instincts, your own truth to live your life to the fullest, and to embody yourself and no one else. Throw away
Yes.
the template. Yeah.
Yes. I love that. I really love that because it's so true. And as you said it, it reminded me. I mean, it's a really long quote. I don't know if you know that quote by Marianne Williamson. It's called
Yeah.
Our Deepest Fear, where basically she says, when we let our own light shine, we subconsciously give other people permission to do the same. When we liberate ourselves from our own fear, we liberate others from their own fear. So definitely, it's sort of like what we do for ourselves is actually we give other people, like we inspire them to do it. We give them permission to do it themselves. So it begins with us, definitely. So this is my last question to you, before I turn it over. So if you have a last thing to say and let people know where they can find you, what do you believe would you say the world needs more of? And if we had it, we would live in a much better world. If you believe there is such a thing that we could get more of, we could benefit from.
I believe if every single person in our world would live from their heart and from their
Mm,
soul's purpose and act from love and not from fear,
mm,
the world would be such a better place. And that's part of my mission, to open the people up, to hear what their hearts are saying, to open their hearts up so
yes,
they can talk freely and then find out what is it that I'm here for, so they can live from a filled place. Because when we're loving ourselves and filling ourselves up, we're
yes,
overflowing
I
with
love
love,
that.
and can that then like give to others, to all the people around us. So it always starts with us. And when we
Definitely.
act and react from love, there is no space for fear. There was this gorgeous video I don't know if you have seen it. I can send you the link so you can link it up maybe.
Which
It,
one?
it's called what room does fear have? And it's a
No, I haven't seen it. I'd
squad.
love to check. Yeah, yeah.
Fantastic. I will send it to you. It's a cheerleader squad dancing to a text read out by a man where he
Mm,
talks about what room does fear have when there is love, when there is hope, when there is dreams, where there is compassion. And it's
yes.
just like I get goosebumps talking about it.
Wow.
So,
Yes, I'd love to check it out, and I'll put the link when I share this. So yeah, definitely, I'd love, because and what you said, it's so powerful, and I totally agree, because I truly believe, and I have to say that was one of my things when I decided to do that type of work, is I truly believe that when we love ourselves, when we take care of ourselves, when we do work that lights us up, I mean, all we can do is contribute more love into this world. Because the thing is that if we're not happy, if we're doing work that drained us, if we're really not taking time to heal ourselves, then what are we putting out? We're putting out fear. We're not putting out love. And, fear creates more fear. So I totally, totally agree. I love it. I love it. So, I wanted to ask you, so let people know, where would they find you? How do they connect with you? I'd love for them to get to know where they can go and, see you and find out more about you and your work and follow you.
well, there are loads and loads of freebies. Like every time I do a webinar, I pop them up onto my website on lightmaiden.com. Very straightforward. You can sign up to my newsletter there as well. I'm planning to add the Four Maidens as an opt-in. So a little mini course about the Four Maidens, where you can do action steps to find out more about the different parts of yourself. And of course on Facebook. I'm a big Facebook user. I love my Facebook. There's the Light Maiden business page where I regularly draw my cards and do lives on. I have my own Light Maiden network group, my Facebook group, where I do laser coaching and share all that is going on with me. I regularly have new programs starting. There's the Light Maiden Academy, where I provide a space where others find out what they can do with their psychic abilities and their spiritual gifts. And also the Surrender into Action program, where I teach surrendering, and I coach on like taking the action steps and coming over the resistance about inspired actions. So that's where you can find me. And on Facebook, it's very easy to connect to me and to find me and to message me, because I'm quicker with the Facebook messages than I am with my emails.
Well, hey, I mean, it's good that you know that, and it works for you. We have to do what works for us, So I wanted to do what are any final words, any final message that you want to share with my audience, with the people who are watching us? Turn it over, just let us know, share
there is a life of adventure waiting for you, and it's just waiting for you to come out of your comfort zone. So make sure that when you hear your soul calling, follow it, and it will surprise you with the most amazing experiences and adventures and situations that you would have never dreamed of. Like, if you would have told me a year ago where I am today, I would have laughed in your face, but still I am here, So look at what is it that what is it that my heart calls me to? What is it? Where do I really want to go? And then start with many tiny baby steps towards that big goal or call or whatever it is. And if it's just the next step that in your heart, and it doesn't need to be elaborate. It might be sleep more. It might be do yoga. It might be just a really simple self-care step. So with me, like, stop the sugar, and the channel opened. So I always trust that inner guidance that comes through, and enjoy this life. I don't believe in YOLO. I don't believe in you only live once, but you only have this one life in this body you're in. I only have this life as Annika, and I want to make the most of it, definitely.
Wow, I love that. No, and I totally agree with you. I love that. That was really, really powerful. So thank you for joining me, and I hope you all enjoy this, and I hope you all will go and check out her pages, because as you could tell, I believe we're all light. Her light is shining. She's a big, bright light. Wishing you all love and light. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.